You say, what would you point to that you've seen from this team as sort of the biggest difference between now and when you played Duke the first time? It's 5 weeks ago that you guys played in Durham, and over these last 5 weeks, what would you point to as the differences with this team?
Well, I necessarily wouldn't point to just one thing. I think there's a number of things that we've improved on. The consistency on both ends. Just the consistency of doing the little things on the defensive end in terms of boxing out, rebounding, trying to defend without fouling, protecting the paint offensively, doing a better job taking care of the basketball, getting to the offensive glass, not taking bad shots, getting good shots, and I think that's contributed to us scoring really well of late. And so just the consistency of doing the things that allow you to be successful, I think we're doing them consistently well more. That's what I would think.
How different would you say they are from a collective headspace as the first time you guys went over to Duke? How much more comfortable with who they are on the floor, because they are playing a lot differently now?
Us, Duke?
Yeah, you guys. So from when the first game when you went over there, how different are you guys as far as confidence goes right now, headspace goes, just overall comfort? Much more fluid-looking team now than maybe going into that game.
I would agree that, but I mean, our confidence was high going into the game. We just, Duke played extremely well, credit to them, and, we didn't play our best game on both ends of the floor. I think there's a confidence level for us that we're improving and we're getting better. And that's the confidence that we have, is that we're continuing to improve. And to be able to see that improvement play out in a game more consistently on both ends of the floor.
Coach Davis, is that why I see the funness back in the game now, because of the things you mentioned, being consistent about the things that they're doing and the things that you're telling them? Because I see funness, in my opinion, back in the players in the game. Winning helps too, but it seems like
that really helps.
Yeah. It seems like I'm missing.
And when your shot goes in, that helps. I would agree with you. I think there's a new joy amongst this team. I've expressed it before in regards to other questions that I feel like our guys are settled in regards to like their role and what they can do out there on the floor, so that gives them confidence. And that settledness and that confidence is resulting in individual and team success, and I think that's bringing out the joy in them. And somebody said, I think Kirsch, you told me that Seth, after the Virginia Tech game, referenced that the entire team was playing for the name on the front of their chest, and that it's a collective group effort to come together as a team and to play for this program and for this university. And I think that's where that joy is coming from.
Hubert, you mentioned shot selection just a minute ago. I'm curious with the three-point shot in particular. You're making more of them, making it a higher percentage. Is that as much is it as simply as shot selection? Is it sharing the ball and or even figuring out how to play together and hit the guy at the right moment? Do you attribute one or the other more so?
I think you nailed it on all of that. I think first of all, I think from an offensive standpoint, we always want to dominate points in the paint, and so we want to go inside out through post and penetration offensive rebounds. I think we're doing a better job of that. I think that's generating better three-pointers, better shots at the right time, open shots, getting it to your teammate at the right time. I just think they're good threes. And as a result of that, guys are really being able to find their rhythm, and we're making them. But I would contribute it to us wanting to go inside, in, out from an offensive shot spectrum, but that's generating really good threes for us, and we're knocking down those open threes.
Hubert, you've shared a lot of experiences with RJ over the years. Kind of take us behind the scenes with one of your favorite stories that kind of exemplifies what he's been about here.
Wow. That's hard to explain. You know, I've been 5 years with him, but it's even been more so than that because I was the recruiter for RJ. I remember the first time that I saw him play. I was covering another AAU event. He was playing on the Nike circuit, and I was covering another AAU event, and I flew into the Nike circuit the last day that they were playing. And it was in Atlanta, and they were only playing games from like 8 in the morning till 12 noon. And I had taken the red eye and gotten there at, you know, just before 8 o'clock. And I remember talking to Coach Williams, and I asked him, I said, Coach, if, you know, because I'm only here for, this is the only day, could I walk around and just watch different games as opposed to just sit in one particular game? And Coach Williams said, yes, for sure, go for it. And I just walked around all the 12 courts, and I just kept turning around, and I saw this kid hit a three, and I was like, oh, it's a nice shot. And then I walk around, saw another kid, same kid hit another three, and I saw him steal the ball, score a layup, and then make a nice assist. And I found myself at that court almost the whole time. And I came back to Coach Williams, and I was like, there's this kid named RJ Davis that's pretty good. I think we need to take a look at him. He just plays the right way and looks like a really good kid. I love the way that he interacts with his coaches and his teammates, and he's just the kind of guy that we would love to have a part of our program in this brief viewing that I just saw. And I just happened to be at that event that morning and just happened to turn my head and see RJ, and now he's playing his final game in the Smith Center. And I've been his coach for 5 years and been his head coach for 4. It's pretty cool.
To go off that, what makes, in the time that you spent around him, obviously being within the program, what sets him apart, I guess, as a player, maybe even a teammate, from, you know, maybe some of the other players you coach? Like, what makes him unique?
Well, I would set RJ apart in this because RJ is RJ. There's not a set apart because RJ has done this or this is who he is a person. We celebrate the uniqueness of everyone and their personality. So really everybody is set apart because they're all different people. In regards to RJ, to have somebody so accomplished and to be able to stay at one institution for 5 years under the way college is right now is very rare. And I don't know how many times that's going to happen. And so of the many things that you can say about RJ, him being loyal to this program and to this university is something that should be celebrated and should be talked about.
Hubert, on the flip side of the coin, obviously you guys are surging. Been 5 weeks since you played them. How would you evaluate the way they maybe look different or similar compared to that first?
They're surging too.
They haven't stopped.
They are. I mean, they're really good. You know, and you know, from a defensive standpoint, I think that's where they hang their hat is defensively, and they have the length, the athleticism, the mindset, and they understand that drives them, and that's what makes them a great defensive team. On the offensive end, you know, especially when you allow them to connect the dots, you know, their ball movement, their screens are on point, and they've got individual players that you can just give the ball to, and they can get a shot anytime that they want. And so, one of the things that impresses me most about them, you use the word surging, so that's a meaning of continuing to improve, and like for them to have that much success and for them to have a burning desire to surge and to improve, that's really impressive to me.
Hubert, along those lines, from a motivational and preparation standpoint, maybe the right buttons to push. Is it important for you to go back through that first game and remind them of where it went wrong, or you just try to stay away from that and sort of highlight the way you guys are playing now the last couple of games? Is it important to draw on the first game?
I think a combination of both. I really do. I think it's important to look back and look at the things that we didn't do well in that first game, but also point towards what we're doing well now and how that can apply and help us in moving forward in the game on Saturday. But I would say a combination of both.
Coach Davis, can you talk a little bit more about Jalen Withers and what you expect to see from him on Saturday?
More threes. I want him to surge.
Yeah. And how he's been playing. I feel like he's been playing a lot more refined. I feel like at first he was, just bull in a china shop, crazy athletic, couldn't really refine his skills. Now he's just playing so much better. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I mean, I've since even recruiting Jay Witt, I told him, it's just, and you talked about his size and his athleticism, his versatility. That's the first thing that just jumped out to me, and he just takes our team to a different level because we don't have anybody with that combination of size, athleticism, and versatility that can do a number of things on both ends of the floor. And I would say over the last month, it's really all come together for him. Not only being at that level, but the consistency at that level. The knocking down threes, offensive rebounds, his cuts, his slashes, finishes around the rim, getting to the free throw line, defensively being able to guard 1 through 5, rebounding the basketball. It's changed his team completely. And so when he's playing at a high level, alongside his consistency, which he has been over the last 4 or 5 weeks, it's really helped us.
To go off that, I guess, with, having him in that starting lineup and having that bigger starting lineup, I guess how much of from a basketball standpoint, do you feel that'll kind of help match up against Duke? Because, of course, their, size and was a, factor for a lot of the games they played with, specifically when you guys played them last month. Just how much do you think that lineup will kind of help you all match up with them?
Well, I think it's helped us over the last 4 weeks, because, starting Jay Witt at the quote-unquote 4 and then having Drake more on wing players at 6'6", 6'7", I think it's really helped us. We are who we are. There are going to be lineups up there where we're smaller than pretty much every team. So just is what it is. But I think having Jay Witt in there and moving, whether it's Drake or Ian, more towards the wing has really helped us defensively. I think it's helped us rebounding, and my hope is that it'll put us in a better position on Saturday.
You mentioned Drake. I think he's been double figures the last 3 games, playing a lot more 3 than previously. How much does that help? How much is his game just evolving, and how much is it also a byproduct of everybody being more connected and more fluid and everybody scoring more?
I think it's a byproduct of everyone being connected and everyone scoring more. I understand the 3 and the 4. In regards to offense, that in terms of shot spectrum plays out there on the floor, there's no change from the 3 or the 4. Now, a difference from the 3 and the 4 is going to the offensive glass. You're going to the offensive glass against a wing player as opposed to, quote unquote, a power forward. And I think also maybe the other biggest difference is defending a 4 as opposed to having Drake defending more, on the wing. But in regards to his offensive production, I think that's a byproduct of just the team success and working well together, but also there's really no difference between the 3 and 4 in terms of shot spectrum, plays, and I think I've shown that with, for example, Harrison Ingram shot 3s and posted up, and he did it at the 3 and the 4, and so Drake can do that as well.
Hubert, how in the world has Vin Allen Lubin improved his hands over the course of this season? Because, I mean, we know they weren't great. You know, if you think about the passes he wasn't catching maybe 2 months ago, now he's catching everything.
Oh, sorry.
Time to pray.
It is.
Yep.
It is. It is. It is. Well, I will say this, that I think not just Vin, I think everyone, I think it varies in terms of finding where you're comfortable out there, but I think it takes time. Like, I think he's more comfortable of when RJ and Elliott are going to pass the ball to him. It's the first time they ever played together. Elliott can pass it anywhere. Like, your eyes have to be open at all times. It doesn't look like it's open, and the ball's right there in your hands. And I really feel like it was a practice last week, and he caught it. And at the beginning of the year, he would not have caught that. And he was running down the floor of practice. I said, "You're getting used to Elliott throwing that pass at that time." He goes, "Yep." And I think he's just,
you can see it in the game.
I think he knows when it's coming, how it's coming, where it's coming, and I think that's a huge difference.
Hubert, another senior night question for you. How do you balance tapping into the emotion of senior night with motivation? Obviously, you know, you and the guys are always motivated, especially in a game like Saturday. But how much do you use that to try and motivate them without it lining into too much of the emotional side, especially when you're setting off a player like RJ?
Yeah, I you know, it's interesting. When we were playing against Virginia Tech and it was at halftime, and I told them that I'm an emotional person, and what draws that emotion out of me is 3 things. 1, my faith in Jesus. 2, my family. And 3, basketball. And I said, those are good things. And I said the reason why it brings that out of emotion is because I love those things. Those are the most important things to me. So the emotion of senior day, the emotion of playing your last ACC regular season game, the emotion of playing Duke, I want all of it. I want all of it. And I want all of it to come out in competing and playing and competitively fighting. I want all of it.
Couple more, last 2. Art?
You and John Shire's careers have paralleled pretty well. I haven't played their assistant head coach. How well do you know him?
I don't know him very well. Obviously, you know, it's the little bit that we do know of each other, we really enjoy being around each other. And I have so much respect for him, the job that he's done, the job that he had to take over, and the type of person, the family man that he is. But it's very difficult in this job, and especially it's just very difficult to spend a lot of time with each other because there's so much stuff going on. But I have tremendous respect for him, and really excited about the challenge of competing against him on Saturday.
Yeah, he's had some struggles, and then they put it all together this year. Does that say anything about him, or just all the good things that come together sometimes like that?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter what year, what team, and I know that I've referenced this before, there's going to be speed bumps, there's going to be traffic, there's going to be rain, there's going to be cloudy days, and there's going to be a lot of sunny days and clear skies and smooth roads. And how you react and how you respond through the good times and adversity, that's what you have control over, and that's what you have to focus on. And I know John has done a terrific job of doing that, and it's a result of him doing the job that he's doing over at Duke.
One more? All right, thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it. 3, Drake.